Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. What I have to tell you is something of great importance. And while I have been a little rushed and can wait, the world cannot wait for me. I am the chosen of God. What I've done here is I've put together a book so you'll be able to find the way yourself. Unfortunately, the audio didn't quite work when I first recorded this, so we'll do it again. So, we are not insignificant. Take these words to heart and know something of an unfathomable capability is looking on. From a scientific perspective, what's in these pages covers the most momentous discovery ever made by anyone in the history of the world. Contact, perhaps first contact, with a deity with scientifically scrutable evidence, which means you can actually go and see it for yourself. It was recorded, or at least two of the signs were recorded by different people in different countries. They just didn't know what they were seeing. Or didn't know it was a sign they were seeing. From a religious perspective, I would be called the Messiah. I call myself chosen by God, or chosen of God. To know that there really is something of unfathomable power out there that has made physical, verifiable contact is without doubt humanity's crowning achievement. That something has contacted us, me, in a physical sense, as in touched, really touched, in the real world, this real world. Communicated, not a feeling, not a dream, not a vision, but a real physical interaction with another entity not of this world, is beyond most people's grasp of reality. I have no words for this entity. It did not stop for a coffee and give its name. Perhaps it has none that it wishes to tell us at this time. Maybe we'll be fortunate in future. I have referred to this entity as a Q-type entity and God, and it has responded when I have used these terms. So I will continue to use such vernacular. I will tell you straight up, rather than looking at your own knowledge and any other book, you should put them all down and you should be asking yourself how I did it. In these pages, I'm going to show you at least some of who I am and the path I chose. And perhaps this leads to an answer of why God Q chose me. In simple terms, what are you missing? The scales of life are thus. You can spend your entire life on your knees praying for someone else to do it for you. Or you could spend your life helping the world. You have free will to decide. And so far, you have chosen poorly. At one end, you will be chosen. And at the other, you will end up with sore knees. So, hello and welcome. While I could continually revise this book ad infinitum, at some point it becomes selfish not to share the truth. And the world is a mess. This book will show that all religions are false. or if you wish at worst, false, and at best need to change. Each of the signs that in this book, I will show each of the signs that chose me. Some of those signs you can see for yourself, as they were recorded by different people in different countries, and I will speak about them in later chapters. It will talk about the path I chose. There will also be some thoughts on how I see the world. I am he. I absolutely guarantee you 100% I am he, the chosen by God, Q. The Messiah, or whatever terminology you wish to use, the only person with actual contact, communication, and signs in the real world from interactions with God Q. Please do not take this lightly. You should put down every book you have ever read about God Q. They are at best glorified history books. In this book you are going to read actual words from the chosen of God. I'm not kidding. You are reading the words from in the real world, chosen. I have no interest in religion, and neither should you. Self-elected people that don't have the first clue about God, Q. Using poorly documented unscientific texts written in some cases by clairvoyants, otherwise known as seers or prophets. Go to the local circus if you want to see a clairvoyant prophet. When using them to write texts about God, Q, and then forcing you to follow it, oh dear. Today, clairvoyants, prophets have all been proved false, with massive monetary prizes available for anyone who can prove the scientific community wrong. What I would do is I would get a massive red marker pen, a texter, and go through every religious book you have and say no, 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 while putting a line through it all. Anything said by any prophet, clairvoyant, would be crossed out, and that's just for starters. When I was younger, I did not assume blindly there was a God, Q, as I have a scientific mind. I was firmly in the camp of knowing there was no God, as there was no recorded evidence, no scientific evidence. Any intelligent person should wait for evidence, and the path I set for myself, including finding out if there was any truth to the concept of a God. Working out how to prove it was going to be some deep, level-headed reasoning. But I succeeded, and I am he. God, Q, chose a scientific person to be chosen. The truth could never be anything less. I may be chosen, but God Q has all the power. There is no need for a commission, no need for self-election, a panel. The next chosen, if ever there will be one, will be able to ask for a giant smiley face on the sun, just as I have done as one of the signs. It is that simple. There is one who supposedly said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. This person is a charlatan and not the chosen of God. Or at worst, or best, if you like, someone rewrote his words such that it made no sense. Life was given to us all. It was not withheld. The way exists outside of any person, therefore can be found by anyone. Anyone who follows nonsense will find nonsense. So if you follow him, you will never know God. As to the truth, I am going to finally show you. I am the chosen. I am he. I know what God Q represents. I can show you the way that I chose, that I believe merited God's notice. I do not withhold this path from you. I found it myself. I worked it out myself with no help from other people, no help from anyone. I can show you the way that I chose, that I believe merited God's notice. Sorry, I found the truth. I do not withhold this path from you. I found it myself. I found the truth myself, and I also found their lies myself. There is no such thing as God's chosen people as it exists in the Bible, with the Jews only. There is no God's kingdom for the Jews only, and more. It is all nonsense made up and attributed to Moses, a person or group of people combined to form what Moses represented or represents. Moses the clairvoyant, the man who helped murder an entire community so his people could settle down. Yes, I will certainly put him on my Christmas list. Obviously, this goes against a lot of the teachings of many religions, and that is just the introduction. I feel sorry for those who are born and are automatically indoctrinated into a religion which is hammered into them without their ability to understand or refuse. Then to cut them and call it righteousness. I am going to show you all what righteousness is. You all knew that if God existed and chose a representative on earth, a person, male or female, you all knew that they would come and sweep away all the lies. The question is, are you ready? Finding and fixing the faults in yourself are the hardest faults to find and fix. I'm not perfect. Please do not think I am projecting myself as such. I found the path. I gave up as much as I could to see if there was wisdom in my choice, to see if there was a benevolent supreme being, no matter what that was, that existed in this universe. I chose wisely. I did not choose myself. God Q did that. So be glad all the religion's deceptions are being laid bare. Otherwise the world would have to spend all of eternity listening to nonsense. Building a foundation of lies and putting God Q on top is no longer tolerated. You have now taken your first steps towards understanding, or your first step towards understanding God Q. If you wish to take the hard route or route, you may even get to speak to God and He listen, and see Him respond with a giant smiley face on the sun. I hope so. Are you really as worthy as you think you are, or are you just a talker? It is my hope the truth will bring some goodwill to the world. The age of wisdom is here. Let me add one further thing to the video. Something that I'm hoping God will allow you to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and ask God to extract some of the carbon, if you like, from the atmosphere, form it into diamonds, hopefully some pretty diamonds, because there may be some other elements in the atmosphere. Not too heavy, because we don't want to hurt too many people, although some need some sense knocked into them. So have and have diamonds rain down on all countries of the world as a sign to show that the signs I received from God, like the giant smiley face, was sent by God. So that is what I'm going to do. And hopefully, or if we need a quicker sign, something that's quicker, put a nice band around the equator of the sun. So a nice black band, if you like, around the sun in the middle. So as a sign. So that is what I'm going to ask God to do, so that you can see, and hopefully God will do this for me, for you, before the next video, so that you can actually see God. Are you as excited as I am for you to meet God? You have no idea how this is going to change everyone's lives, how it's going to change your life, how the truth is going to set you free. So that's what I'm going to ask of God before the next video, and we carry on the book. All good. See you on the next one.